Hey friends, welcome back to the channel. Today we are doing an overview, a walkthrough of my entire fall/winter fragrance collection. As some of you know, I am on a no-buy for fragrances in the year of 2024. And in talking about that, and I've shown in some recent hauls some new fragrances to my collection, there have been several of you who have asked, who are also big fragrance aficionados, to see my collection. So I think I'm fairly confident, I'll say like 90% confident that these are all the fall winter fragrances that I have. I'm not gonna say 100% because there could be some in some boxes that are still in storage in our storage unit in Queens. So, but I think we're pretty close here. Certainly the ones that I use, obviously, a lot. So anyway, I'm gonna flip the camera around for just a second so you can see what I'm seeing, but then I'll put it back on the tripod so I can go through each one individually. Basically what I will do is I will tell you the name of the fragrance, the brand or house, I should say, of the fragrance. I will give you some notes on it, maybe a little bit about how much I use it, just, I don't know, some general information. So yeah, so with that, I will show you my entire fall winter fragrance collection. Okay, so I have flipped the camera around. You can see a little bit of kind of what's going on here. Yes, still a whole lot of stuff happening. But anyway, this is the tray that I keep my fragrances on. So I have this one, which is my fall winter, and then I have the exact same tray for my spring summer fragrances. And those are in my closet. These also live in my closet on a shelf, but I brought them out here obviously so I can film. So that kind of an overview, sort of an overhead shot there of what the fragrance look like. I will try to remember to link these trays below if any of you are interested. I will also certainly try to link all the fragrances below if you are interested in those. The trays are definitely from Amazon. They were purchased before we moved, from Kansas City when we lived in our last house. So anyway, just wanted to give you an overview, and now let's get started with the walkthrough. All right, so I'm doing this in no particular order, just basically where they are on the tray, just grabbing whatever. The first fragrance is by Juliet Has a Gun. That is the name of the fragrance house, and the fragrance is not a perfume, but in the super dose version. So I have this in both the original or regular version, and I also have it in the super dose, just like other fragrances where I have sort of a similar situation, which we'll get to at some point here. I wear the extrait or super dose version in the winter, and I wear the OG or regular version generally during the spring summer. I have worn Juliet Has a Gun, not a perfume, for years. It is definitely, I'm looking at these fragrances, probably one of the oldest fragrances in my collection as far as how long I've been using it, not necessarily how old this particular bottle is, because this bottle is pretty new. When I originally tried this fragrance, I had a travel size spray version of it, which I think is maybe 20 ml, something like that. So once I went through that and obviously loved it, I ended up getting this bottle. I think I bought it maybe sometime towards in the summer or early fall, something like that, since I knew I needed to restock on it. Everything I tell you information, by the way, here is from Fragrantica. So if you want to look up something yourself, you can see it there. It's a great website to look up fragrances. I'm looking at Hannah's phone here. The only note is Cetilox, which is from what I understand, basically like a chemical, something that they came up with. In other words, it's not like saffron or oud or lavender, or it's not something that came from nature. It was something that was created. So my understanding is there's literally just one thing in this fragrance, and that's what it comes up with. So the first fragrance is Not a Perfume Superdose by Juliet Has a Gun. All right, next, and I'm clearly gonna have to speed this up or we're gonna be here all day. The next fragrance is from Kayali, and it is Sweet Diamond Pink Pepper number 25. had to look at that for a second. So if you're not familiar, Kayali always puts a number in their fragrances, and that means that it was the whatever number version. So it took them 25 versions to get to the one that they were happy with, and so this is the one that they released. I love the Kayali bottles. I just think they're beautiful. I think this pink is absolutely stunning. Sorry, again, I'm trying to do this so you don't catch the ring light, but it's got like this jewel cap. According to Fragrantica, the top notes are pink pepper, saffron, bergamot, and royal lily, followed by Bulgarian rose, May rose, vanilla orchid, and magnolia, and the base notes are amber, sandalwood, patchouli, and musk. I tend to, when I wear this, pair it with one of the other Kayali fragrances that you'll see here, which pretty much I layer with kind of any Kayali fragrance because I think they all pair really well with this. But yeah, it's fresh to me. I'm trying to tell you how I would describe it. I'm not very good at describing fragrances, so I'll just tell you that I like it. And yeah, it's definitely, it's got a little bit, like I said, of a bite to it, but it's definitely leans more floral fragrance, but a darker floral fragrance. I mean, you could probably wear this in the spring, summer too. I'd be curious to know. So one of the things about Fragrantica, as I pull this back up here, is people will rate like what season or whatever they think it's best in. And I would say fall, winter are the highest ratings for which season, you know, you would wear it in. So yeah, I guess I'm doing it right. All right, sticking with the Kayali house, this is probably one of their most famous, and that is Vanilla 28. So again, it is the 28th version of this fragrance. The notes are vanilla orchid, jasmine, brown sugar, tonka bean, base notes, amberwood, amber, musk, and patchouli. This is one of the perfect layering fragrances I think that is out there. And I think a lot of people who are into fragrances would echo that. It layers beautifully with anything. Not that you can't wear it by itself. I occasionally do, but in general, I layer it with other either Gourmand fragrances or, like I said, pretty much any other Kayali fragrance I have, I layer with Vanilla 28. So they have Kayali has another, I think it's vanilla orchid maybe, or vanilla, I can't remember, but they do have another vanilla fragrance, but Vanilla 28 to me is the OG and absolutely the best. My next fragrance on the tray is this one by Zara, and this is Rose Gourmand. Now you can see I've actually used quite a bit of this fragrance. I also have it in a travel spray that I carry, obviously in my travel toiletries. Notes in this are rose, middle note is amber, and the base note is vanilla. It's very simple. This fragrance, for some reason, it reminds me of Maison Francis Kurkdjian's Gentle Fluidity Gold, which I also own, which I love and wear during the spring, summer. But I don't know why this just kind of, I don't know. It's not listed as a dupe, I don't think. I don't know that anybody else smells that. If you look again on Fragrantica, you will see that people will, again, vote for kind of what fragrances remind them of. And I honestly, I don't think that Gentle Fluidity Gold is one that people say for Rose Gourmand, but it does to me for some reason. So if you're like me and you want a less expensive version of Gentle Fluidity Gold, you don't want to pay the whatever it is, $250 or something for a bottle of that, maybe give Rose Gourmand a try from Zara. It's a beautiful fragrance. It's absolutely one of my favorites. And yeah, I love it. Like I said, I love it enough that I travel with it. So you definitely be able to tell the fragrances that are my super, super favorites because they're ones that I have travel sprays of that, you know, that go with me when I travel. So I'll try to remember that too. I'll try to tell you which fragrances in my collection I have travel ones of that I take with me. Rose Gourmand is one of them. Honestly, because that was the only size I could get originally. It's not an easy fragrance to come by. It's a very, very popular one from Zara, so a lot of people buy it. And like I said, the super, not a perfume, super dose, either that or the regular not a perfume, I always travel with one of those as well. Next up is absolutely one of my favorites, and that is Delina Exclusive by Parfums de Marly. That is what the bottle looks like. I love this. Like I said, this is another one where I wear the Exclusive version or the Extrait version or the Superdose version. Those are all kind of the same way of saying sort of the amped up version, I guess, of it. So I wear Delina Exclusive during the winter. I wear regular Delina during the spring, summer. I had to punt on using Hannah's phone because I don't know what settings she has it on, but it turns off in like 2 seconds. Thought maybe she had it on like low battery mode, but she doesn't. So I don't know what it is. So never mind. I've transferred over to my laptop, as you can see here. So if you see me look over here, that's why, because I'm giving you notes. So the notes on this one, top notes are lychee, pear, and bergamot. The middle notes are Turkish rose, oud, and incense. The base notes are vanilla, amber, and woody notes. Delina and Delina Exclusive are probably my #1 most commented on fragrance. I don't think I have gone through a day wearing one of these two where I haven't been complimented on my, my scent. So highly recommend. It's definitely a pricey perfume, but I love them. You definitely can get them on Joma Shop. So if you are familiar with that website, they tend to sell fragrances at a reduced price. Sometimes they're testers, but most of the time they're not. Everything that I've gotten from there has been in a completely plastic sealed, hermetically sealed, like the original sealed box. I have bought quite a few of the body cream, shower gel, and hand cream in this particular, in the Delina fragrance from Joma Shop. Great deal. And I go through that pretty quickly. So I love that. So definitely also part of my travel. I actually have the travel version of it. I think it's like a 1 ounce, maybe. It's like this big. It's so cute. It's like a little mini version in the regular Delina. But again, another fragrance that I always travel with. Okay, moving into a couple of travel size fragrances that I have, just because I'm not sure that I would want like a full bottle of it. I don't know that there is, they like to say not necessarily full bottle worthy is kind of the phrase that people who are really into fragrances state. So I'm just kind of trying them out. So the first one is by BDK Parfums, and this is called Gris Charnel, not to be confused with Chanel. It's Charnel. The top notes are cardamom, fig, and black tea. Middle notes are iris and bourbon vetiver, and base notes are sandalwood and tonka bean. This is pretty new to my collection. I just got this towards the end of last year. I don't even think that I showed it to you guys. When I showed you a couple of these new fragrances, when I did that haul, I don't think I showed this to you. I think it was not packed away, but like it was separate from my other fragrances because it's a smaller size. So I'm enjoying it so far. I mean, you can see I've used a little bit of it there. I think I've worn it once or twice maybe. So yeah, so far so good. This next one is probably literally the newest fragrance. I say that and then watch, I'll come to something else, but I don't think so. I'm pretty sure this is the most current addition to my collection. Again, it's in a travel spray. This is, the fragrance house is called Flur, and that's PHLUR, and the fragrance is Missing Person. I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see that. This really reminds me, and I did see it on Fragrantica, it reminds people of it as well, of Amazing Grace by Philosophy, if you ever have smelled that. Top notes are musk, jasmine, and bergamot. Middle notes are neroli, cyclamen, and orange blossom. And base notes are white musk, Australian sandalwood, not to be confused with some other country's sandalwood, or country, not a country. Australia's a continent, but anyway, and white wood. It's a very, very light fragrance. That's one thing that I will say about this. I mean, as is Amazing Grace, if you're familiar with that. It's a very, what they call skin scent. So it sits very, very close to the body, right? So people will talk about like sillage, which means like the trail of the fragrance that's left behind you as you walk. So, if you're like walking past a person on the street and they get like 10 feet behind you and they're like, what is that smell? That's the sillage, right? That's the trail of fragrance that's left behind you. But then people talk about sort of like a scent cloud, like again, sort of how far it projects from your body. And something that's a skin scent is something that has a very, very minimal fragrance or scent bubble or scent cloud, right? It sits very, very close to your skin. This is one that I actually tend to, since I got it, spray in the evening before I go to bed. Just, you know, so I have something nice to smell as I go to bed with, especially if what I've worn already during the day has kind of worn off and I don't have a scent going. But yeah, it's a really, really nice one. I've enjoyed it. I could see this becoming full body worthy once I go through this, but we'll see how it goes. But I've been enjoying it so far. All right, going back to Parfums de Marly. This is one that I added this summer. If you guys remember that, it is Valaya. I always want to make sure I say that correctly. Anyway, this again has been a fantastic fragrance. I know several of you have picked this up since I first revealed it on my channel. The sillage on this and the lasting, it is beast mode from the standpoint of its longevity. So it will last, especially if you get it on any kind of clothing or, you know, any kind of textile, will last forever. So if you don't like this fragrance, that's going to be a negative because it's very hard to get rid of. Anyway, notes on this, top notes are aldehydes, white peach, bergamot, and mandarin orange. Middle notes are orange blossom petalia, never heard of that, lily of the valley, vetiver, nymphial, which has a trademark next to it, which makes me think like it's a synthetic something, and mahonia, again, something I've never heard of. Base notes are musk, ambroxan, I have no idea what this is, and I don't even know that I can pronounce it. Akigala wood? Akigala wood? I don't know, and vanilla. That one's easy. Anyway, absolute favorite. I don't think they sell this in a travel version. Otherwise, it 100% would be in my travel bag, for sure. Next up is another fan favorite, and that is Portrait of a Lady by Frederic Malle. Again, you guys have heard me describe this as a masterpiece of a fragrance. It is absolutely, like I said, it's probably top 10 for me as far as the complexity of the fragrance and just the longevity. It ticks all the boxes. It really is an amazing fragrance. If you've never smelled it, I would highly recommend getting yourself a sample of it. Again, I usually get my sample scents from Lucky Scent. So you can go on there and it's, you know, like $5 for a little sample of this and whatever. And so I'll, you know, sometimes go and order like, you know, 5 or 6 different samples of things that I am thinking about trying, because, you know, even in New York, there are things that you can't get, especially if it's a very niche house. They may not be carried even, for example, at like Bergdorf's or Saks. So, but you can certainly find Frederic Malle's Portrait of a Lady pretty much, I would think, in any of the big major luxury department stores. Certainly Saks carries it, Bergdorf's carries it, I believe Neiman's carries it. I'm not sure about Nordstrom and I'm not sure about Bloomingdale's, but I certainly know that those 3 do. Notes on this, top notes are rose, clove, raspberry, black currant, and cinnamon. Middle notes are patchouli, incense, and sandalwood. And base notes are musk, benzoin, and amber. So again, a favorite. If I would probably try to get my hands on a travel version of this, because like I said, this is one of my top 10 fragrances and would love to travel with this as well. Next up is by Diptyque, and it is Flur Depo. This is one that is probably an all year fragrance for me. I know you might think maybe it's a little bit lighter because it's Fleur, so it's flower in the name, but yeah, I tend to wear, I mean, I got it in, when did I get it? In probably April timeframe, I think. So I certainly wore it in spring, summer, but I kept it and moved it to my winter fragrance tray just because I think it's a year-round fragrance. And I have a couple of those that I move, sorry again for the heat, that I do move from one tray to the other depending on the season. I love this fragrance. It is very close to You by Glossier. So again, if you don't want to spend the money on a Diptyque fragrance, I would send you in the direction of You by Glossier. I do own You by Glossier, and I layer them actually quite frequently just to kind of bolster the longevity of each of them. Top notes are aldehydes, pink pepper, angelica, and bergamot. Middle notes are Irish and Turkish rose. Base notes, there's a lot of them. Musk, ambrette, carrot, that's interesting. Ambergris, sandalwood, leather, and amberwood. So a lot of different amber versions or iterations in the base notes of this. Again, highly, highly recommend. It's one where I have body cream of it. They do not, unfortunately, have a shower gel for it, which really kind of irritates me because I would love the shower gel because I really do like to layer my fragrances in different forms, but I do at least have the lotion in it. It's just a great fragrance. I have the hand lotion. Actually, I have the hand lotion on right now. I just forgot about that. But yeah, great fragrance. It definitely projects pretty well. So, you know, it doesn't have like a huge scent cloud, I would say, but it projects well. It's not a skin scent for sure. So highly recommend Flur Depo by Diptyque. All right, going back to the House of Parfums de Marly. This is technically from the men's collection, I believe, and it is called Altair. I believe that's how you pronounce it. I find this a very unisex fragrance, but I also like, you know, more masculine sometimes fragrances than others. But as you can see, I think pretty much everything I've shown you so far is classified as a women's fragrance. But just like clothing, I don't like to classify fragrances. It's whatever you like. If you like it, wear it, go for it. Doesn't matter which section of the department store or which section of the boutique it's found in. If you like it, you wear it, you rock it. Fantastic. Altair, like I said, is a newer fragrance to my collection. Definitely a fall winter wear for me. It's definitely heavier, but I mean, not heavy in the sense that it's like overbearing, but it definitely, and it also has a very, as you remember, tight top. But yeah, it's really good. And if I remember correctly, I think one of you also bought this on my recommendation. Top notes are cinnamon, cardamom, orange blossom, and bergamot. You see, I like bergamot a lot. Middle notes are bourbon, vanilla, and elemi. Again, maybe that's some synthetic something that I don't know about. Base notes are praline, musk, ambroxan, and guaiac wood. Sorry if I'm butchering that, I don't know. But you can hear there's a lot of very kind of deeper, woodsy, musky types of notes in this fragrance. So a great one. This could definitely be another one that I would consider getting a travel size in if they have it, so I could carry it, especially during fall, winter. So another home run for me from Parfums de Marly. Hey friends, editing Lisa here. I'm gonna cut this video here and do a part 2 because I still have like 8 more fragrances to go through and I'm already at like 25 minutes on this video. So if I do the rest, you'll be here for like an hour. So I don't wanna do that to you. So I will split this into 2 parts. So you have just seen part 1. I will try to get part 2 up tomorrow. So it's like pretty much right, you know, one after the other. Hope you have enjoyed it. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up. It helps the YouTube algorithm. And if you haven't subscribed and you want to, just click the subscribe button down below and the notification bell. If you haven't had enough of me yet, I will pop another video up here for you to watch. And wherever you are, I hope you are having an amazing day or evening. And I will catch you in the next one. Bye, guys.